Hey guys, today's video is about what the best animation exercises are for you to do as a beginner to help you practice and learn the fundamentals and get on your way to becoming a good animator. Now, obviously, after doing these exercises, you're not just going to automatically be an amazing animator. Being an animator is kind of like being Sisyphus. You are eternally pushing this rock up this hill and you keep pushing and pushing, and sometimes you seem like you get to the top, but the rock just keeps falling down. Your shots will never be perfect. There's always something you can do to make them better. But after doing these exercises, you'll be able to animate Sisyphus pushing that rock up that hill really nicely, and you'll be just that little bit closer to the top. By the way, I'm Robin, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to keep up to date with all these super helpful videos. Anyway, so these exercises will give you practice in the 12 basic principles of animation and hopefully help you understand them a little better. Squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, straight ahead action and pose to pose, follow through and overlapping action, slow in and out, arcs, secondary action, timing, exaggeration, solid drawing, and appeal. Okay, obviously if you're doing these exercises in 3D, then it's not going to be practice in solid drawing, but you'll cover the others. Don't just do these exercises once. Do them a lot. Practice. And then practice some more. So, let's get started. Here's the T. Ooh, that's cold. First one, basic stuff, is a ball bouncing across the screen. I'm sure if you're in the animation sphere, you've seen it, these noob animators proudly displaying their bouncing balls. The point of the bouncing ball exercise is so that you can get the hang of speed and spacing, weight, timing, arcs, slow in and slow out, and of course squash and stretch. These are all really important. If the ball is traveling from here to here in 10 frames, and this one is going from here to here also in 10 frames, this one is moving faster because it's traveling a further distance in the same amount of time. The ball will squash when it hits the ground, and it'll stretch a little when it bounces off and is in the air. The ball will accelerate as it pushes off the ground, and decelerate at the top of the arc, then speed up again as it drops. You know, gravity. The ball bounces in arcs, and most organic things move in arcs, which is why it's one of the animation principles. The things you learn while bouncing your balls should come through in all your animations, and that's why it's one of the foundation exercises. The second exercise is a brick falling. Have it topple off a shelf or something. You need to give the impression of the weight and rigidity of it. It's different from the bouncing ball because depending on the height that it's falling from, it might not bounce. Or if it does, it's because of a rebound from the impact and not because it's this rubbery, pliable thing like the ball is. I see too many new animators getting a bit carried away with squash and stretch because they know it's an important principle, but they don't understand that you also need to be aware of the material of the object that you are animating. If your brick is too squashy and too stretchy, it's not going to come across as a brick. It's also a different shape, so it'll fall differently. If it falls onto the short side, it'll topple over with the momentum of the fall, and may even turn in the air depending on how high the fall was or how the fall started. The start of the fall will have more keyframes and be slower. That's the slow in. Then as it falls, it will speed up, obviously. That acceleration will also give you a feeling of the weight of the brick. Okay, now you need to become best friends with the flour sack because you're going to be doing a lot of things with this little guy. The flour sack is different to both the ball and the brick because it doesn't remain a constant shape. I mean, I know that the ball squashes and stretches a bit, but it always goes back to that same round ball shape. The flour sack is, in theory, rectangular if the flour inside is all laid out nicely and evenly, but it'll bend in the middle and flop around a lot depending on what's happening to it. The weight of the flour inside the sack and the side that it's falling to are going to affect the volume and the shape of the flour sack. It'll also have follow through, overlapping and secondary action and drag that the ball and the brick don't have. It might fall off a shelf, flip in the air, land on one side, and then the other half of it might flip over after a moment. The timing and spacing, weight, everything will be completely different to the ball and the brick. And the beauty of it is that it can fall in so many different ways. If it's lying on the shelf with half hanging off, with the flower slowly gathering in the down-hanging corners until the weight is too much and it slides off, it'll fall totally differently to if it was standing almost upright and was pushed off the shelf. There are a ton of ways to do it differently each time, and you really should try and approach it differently in a few different exercises. Okay, now you're going to animate your flour sack, let's call him Fred, kicking a ball. Oh shit, 2 exercises in one. What? Give Fred some character. That's the beauty of the flour sack. He's an inanimate object that you can give so much personality to. He's got these little nubby tufts that could almost be arms and legs. It's great. It's great. Remember that he's floppy, so he'll have that drag on his corners and some bend in the middle and overlapping action, and you can go crazy. He'll need to anticipate the movement, and there'll be some drag on his foot as it goes through the movement and gathers momentum, and then there'll need to be that impact as his foot connects with the ball. The ball will squish a little, then shoot off in an arc. The sack's leg will still have follow-through on that movement, as will the rest of the body. Some parts of his body will stop moving and settle before the others. Remember, Fred needs to balance. His weight will shift to the leg that's still on the ground as the leg that's kicking goes up. And his body will need to counter and react to that weight shift. It's really important not to forget about weight and balance as you're animating something. Number 5, Fred, your friend the flour sack, jumping. The great thing about Fred the flour sack is that because he's not an actual human or quadruped with limbs to think about, you're not thinking about all the finer body mechanics, but you are thinking about the general mechanics, the acting, and the appeal of the character. You're also still thinking about anticipation, arcs, timing, weight shifts, follow through, all that stuff. So now, animate him jumping. Fred's not just going to spring into the air without any sort of preparation or anticipation. Avoid twinning as always, offset the movements of his little nubs, limbs, whatever, and pay attention to the timing of the jump. Remember the timing that you practiced with your bouncing ball. It'll be fast in his trajectory as he pushes off the ground, and then it'll slow down as he reaches his apex, and then speed up again as gravity catches up with him and he goes back down to the ground. He won't land with both of his feet hitting the ground at the same time. They will need to be offset, and there'll be a lot of drag and follow through on the rest of his body as it catches up. Try and think of some other animation exercises that you can do with Fred. The world is your oyster. He can run, dance, whatever. Go on some adventures, nurture your beautiful relationship. You've already learned so much together already. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any other videos. Let me know in the comments if there's any other videos that you think I should cover, or any other tips or advice that you'd like to see in a video. Good luck on your animation journey. We're all in this together. Thanks for watching. Love ya. Bye.